Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Qala rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Today inshallah we'll do lessons from Surah Qaria, and then we'll do Surah Takathur. So Surah Qaria, we have read the finalization of the day of Qiyamah, where the way will be, our deeds will be weighed. Only good deeds will have the weight, and the bad deeds will be turned into haba manthura, and there will be no weighing of the bad deeds, and people will know, and they will be shown to narun hamiyah, fire. So in this surah, as we know that the three surahs together, which is Surah Zilzal and Adiyat and then Qaria, the picturization of the Qiyamah has been done, and it's complete. As far as the lessons are concerned, the first and the most important lesson is that we need to make sure that we need to make our niyyah pure for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do everything for the happiness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that's where the weight will be. We have discussed that the deeds that will be accepted on the day of judgment are the one who will have the weight, are the one which is done with pure niyyah and according to the sunnah, and the best and full capacity and capability of a person. So it's very important that we need to realize that and be mindful of what we are doing in terms of even our good deeds. On the other hand, that if you are not mindful, then still the weight may not be put in. So it's a very important aspect that we need to realize and save ourselves from any kind of trouble on the day of judgment. Also, we need to know, as far as the realization is concerned, that if we cannot tolerate the fire of this world, if you want to do a sin, just put your hand on a burning candle for a few minutes and see what will happen. Then imagine that the fire of the hereafter is 70 times more than the fire which is here. And in this aspect, the hadith that has been mentioned, that the lowest of the punishments will be, Rasulullah says, that the slippers of fire will be put in someone's feet, and that fire is such that the head of that person will boil like a cook pot. And also it's mentioned in the books of hadith that the Jahannam ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give permission to breathe. So Jahannam breathe during the summer when there is extreme heat, and in the winter when there is extreme cold. So imagine how it will be in real when we will see it, and it's coming, that how it's going to be when you see Jahannam in the next surah. And also our Salaf and Awliya Allah has mentioned that if someone wants to do a sin, they should go to a place where there is no guard. So you cannot have any place to do sin in your life. And the good deeds that you are doing, you have to do it with pure niyyah. So inshallah we will start now Surah Takathur. This is again the Makki Surah, and we will just do a very quick background that in the previous surahs Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has highlighted the traits of kuffar which will cause them to end up in hellfire, which will cause them to be punished on the day of judgment. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned the word insan, because insan is the one who forgets, who does not remember, and who just lose the focus. That is the focus that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to focus, because Allah has given us intellect. So Allah says tagha is the number one reason why people do transgression. Then istaghna, if they are very wealthy, they feel like that they don't need anyone and they don't want to really come to the truth. And then the when even they come to the truth, what they do, kazzaba wa tawalla, they just falsify it and turn it away. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Surah Al-Bayyinah give us this 4 steps journey in which Allah says, mukhlisin. When we are doing the slavery of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we would have to be put in our heart that there is no appreciation for no one, reward is only from Allah. Then hunafa, that means attachment to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only, and everything else is second. Your top priority is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how you will attach yourself, that is bayyana, Qur'an and the Sunnah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentioned salah and zakah, so huququl Allah and huququl ibad, that need to fulfill. And then the word munfakin has come in Surah Bayyinah, and that word is actually in Arabic is also called painful separation. So with this Bayyinah that has come, the lines are drawn, and these lines are drawn because of the Bayyinah, and it is drawn because someone who has fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fear of his master, that he wants to separate himself from a person who has all the above shortcomings which has been mentioned, tagha, istaghna, kazzaba wa tawalla. So that's how the people will be separated in 2 groups. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is highlighting in the Surah Takathur another very important aspect in humans, which can cause them to sway away from the right path, which will cause them to lose the focus of the realization, which will cause them to end up in the grave without realizing what was the purpose they are in dunya. So this is very, very important, and it's also mentioned when we recite the surah, that the blessings that Allah has given them, blessings has given to the human beings, those blessings deluded them, deceived them. The ni'mah has deceived them to a point where they forget their purpose and they end up in graves. So this is the short introduction, and now inshallah we will start the surah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhaakumut takathur hatta zurtumul maqabir. So this is the next issue, and this is for all humanity, especially either they have iman or they don't have iman, that the people who have the urge to have more and more and more, and then on top of it they are competing with each other in this dunya to have more of this dunya. Someone has a car, so you look at it and you say, no, I need to have a new model car. Someone has a job, you want to have even a better job. And this competition between the human beings for this dunya is such a motivation for people to continue in this takathur, that they actually lose the focus from the akhirah. And here it's mentioned, so we need to be very, very aware of it and vigilant of it, and make sure that it doesn't affect us. So what the end is, that they compete so much, the urge to have more and more is to a point, to an extent, that where they end up in their graves. So they lose the most important aspect, which is to establish Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's kalima on the land and to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy. So this is the delusion that shaitan does. Even you are doing all 4 things, you are hunafa, you are mukhlisin, hunafa, you are establishing the salah and you are giving zakah, that means you are giving huququllah and huququl ibad. But in this aspect also, your shaitan will sway you away to a point where you lose focus because of the competition doing for this dunya. If you are doing competition for akhirah, it is ahsan, it is good. Allah will reward you in more. So after that, because when someone loses the focus, so what Allah is now saying, Allah is saying, Kalla sawfa ta'lamun. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely you will aware of it very soon. What we will aware of it? The reality. The reality is that we exit from this dunya without anything what we are competing with each other. The only thing we will have is our deeds. Thumma kalla sawfa ta'lamun. So the repetition of the same ayah, that absolutely, absolutely you will know it very soon. And repetition always emphasize the importance of it. Also repetition also emphasize the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that how come Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the human being with intellect, created the human being with foresee, created the human being with vision, created the human being to realization, and he deluded because he started competition for this dunya. So this is very important that we need to aware of this disease. Then Allah says, Kalla law ta'lamuna ilm al-yaqeen. That there is again absolutely, absolutely, absolutely that you will know with the reality, the yaqeen, you will know it with your knowledge. And what is that? Because people love this dunya. Innahu lahubbil khayri lashadid. So this love of this dunya is the one that deluded. Now yaqeen is actually here mentioned about the iman that you have. So here what is Allah is mentioning is that when you reach to your grave, then you will realize that what you have lost. Then you will realize that how much chances you have to do good and you were doing something else. At that time you will realize in your graves that you competing in a very materialistic way. So the ilmul yaqeen, and there are three aspects of this iman or this is yaqeen. Is ilmul yaqeen is when you infer something from your intellect. So Allah is also saying that you should have infer that the dunya is very short and the reality is akhirah. The real life is akhirah. This important aspect you should have realized with this intellect. And ilmul yaqeen is that when you people say different examples, like if you see a smoke, then you be aware from your infer that there's maybe a fire. Same way you come out from your house and you see everything wet, then you can infer that there must be a rain that has caused that. If you see a big dent on your car, you know that there may be an accident or somebody hit your car. This is all your infer, that you look something and you infer the conclusion. But there is another one which is ainul yaqeen. Ainul yaqeen is when you actually see from your own eyes something that is you can see, and that seeing is increase your iman. And in this aspect, ainul yaqeen is like if you see the smoke, you went there and you actually witnessed the fire, then you says yes, this is the smoke is because of the fire. Or if you have seen the rain from your window, then you know that the ground is wet because it was rain. So ilmul yaqeen, then ainul yaqeen. So Allah says ladarawunnal jahim. That means on that day when you will be in this Jannah and Jahannam will be started in the grave. When this surah came down, Sahaba says that we used to say that there is no punishment in the grave, but now this is the punishment of the grave is mentioned. Latarawunnal jahim, said you will absolutely, definitely will gonna see the fire, the Jahannam. Then again, summa latarawunnaha ayn al yaqeen. So this is the ayn al yaqeen, that here it's also mentioned that it will be a direct contact with you, with the eye contact with the fire, meaning the Jahannam will be looking at people who are transgressors we'll be looking at the people who lost the chance on this dunya to be successful hereafter. And then, the time is already gone. There is no way that you can correct anything. So we have to be extremely, extremely vigilant about that. The reality is that we need to save ourselves from the Jahannam. And how are we going to save ourselves? By Iman, doing good deeds, and then making sure that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy will engulf us. So, and then the last aspect of your yaqeen is haqqul yaqeen. Haqqul yaqeen is that you can see something and still you don't believe it, so you touch it. And then you say, oh, this is the fire. And once you touch it, that is your haqqul yaqeen. It's also mentioned in the books of Hadith that haqqul yaqeen is something that has been shown to Anbiya. So their iman is such that when Musa alayhi salam was present, and in front of him there is sea, and in the back there is the army of Pharaoh is coming, he did not lose any hope. He said, my Allah will gonna show me the way. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala show him the way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered him to hit his staff on the water, and the water parted. So this is ilmul yaqeen, ainul yaqeen, and haqqul yaqeen. And haqqul yaqeen is also, this Qur'an is haqqul yaqeen. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is explaining that because your creation is such, insan has created in a way that he can infer haqqul yaqeen from ilmul yaqeen. The ainul yaqeen is taken away because of our intellect. Meaning we should be able to realize and come to the conclusion that this dunya, we will exit from this dunya. So we should prepare for akhirah. So Allah has given us the true ilm, this Qur'an, and because of this true ilm that Allah has given, and because of the intellect Allah has given, this intellect is not given to any other creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing us that because I have given you ilmul yaqeen, you should come to haqqul yaqeen, and you should save yourself from the fire. And then on the last ayah, Allah says, Summa latus'alunna yawma izin anin na'im. This is the very fearful ayah. That is, Allah says, definitely everyone will be asked about the ni'mah that Allah has given him in this dunya. And it's a beautiful hadith. Rasulullah was present in his house, and he has not anything to eat for a couple of days. So Abu Bakr Siddiq came, and he has the same. He has not eaten for a few days. Then Hazrat Umar Radhiyallahu Ta'ala Anhu came, and he has not eaten for a few days. So all three of them come together, and they says, we'll go to a Sahabi, and and we'll hope that he has something that we can enjoy. So it was an Ansari Sahabi. I think it's Abu Haitham Radhiyallahu Ta'ala Anhu. So when he reached, all three of them reached to the house, they knock and they say, Assalamu alaikum, and there were no answer. So they did for 3 times, and as soon as they were leaving, the wife of the Sahabi called and says, Ya Rasulullah, we were listening to your salam, but we want more salam from you, so that's why we didn't answer. So come on in. So they bring them into the garden, and it was the garden of the dates. So the Sahabi come running, and he just brought different kinds of dates and water, which was sweet water. And Rasulullah ate the dates, and Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq ate the dates, and Hazrat Umar Farooq Radhiyallahu Ta'ala Anhu eat the dates, and then they drink water. And Rasulullah says, this is anin na'im. This is summa latus'alunna yawma izin anin na'im. He recited this ayah, that this is the nema that you will be asked. So imagine where we are these days. So inshallah we will stop here, and we will continue. Wa akhiru dawana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.